Here's one of the clips from GrayMatter's webinar, From Data to Dollars. Here's how airport leaders are thinking about the growing importance of non-aeronautical revenue.
So, in terms of the airport commercial business, going back to the topic from data to dollars, where do you see the revenue leaking? Is it really something which cannot be attributed to, or it is hidden somewhere in the way the processes are being, done or have been historically done now are changing? So how do you see, uncovering these pieces of revenue leakage, and how can you attribute them to the way the processes can be carried out? Maybe Nabil again to start with.
Sure. Thank you, Anupam. The way I see it, I see leakages or losses of, say, two forms, right? One is, let's say, an operational loss, and the other is more of, let's say, a structural sort of an opportunity cost, right? So the losses could be something like, we sent our invoices late, or there was an issue with the invoicing, or there was underdeclared sales. The stuff that generally comes up, when you do reconciliations, or in the absence of a robust system, you would be entirely dependent on something like a spot audit, right? So some of these things could go unnoticed until by some roll of the dice, you happen to audit somebody who's been doing something, right? So that's let's say the structural stuff. But then that's the operational stuff. The structural sort of the opportunity cost is actually, to me, is more interesting and actually more long term in its impact, because those could be things like, are my contracts actually optimized given my passenger profile, and given their sort of buying behavior? Is my store placement optimized within the airport to capture the kind of, the flow and spending behavior? Um, do I have the right, knowing what I do about my passengers, do I have the right products? Are they available at the right times? Do I have the right kind of promotions, etc., to attract or to offer that more compelling value proposition to my passenger? That compounds over time, right? Because that would compound over the life of the contract, say 3, 5 years, perhaps even more, right? So the way at least we've been utilizing things is, the first step is always we see us focusing on this sort of day-to-day operational revenue losses and leakages, which, when you have the data, when you have it flowing real time, and you have very robust mechanisms for reconciliation, those pop up very quickly, right? And then you sort of address it one at a time. But then the next step, of course, is now you have this wealth of information. How do you then start managing your contracts and managing your let's say, how these various sort of jigsaw pieces within your airport, how do you rearrange them better in order to extract the maximum value out of your commercial sort of, let's say, potential, right? So I kind of hope I've answered that question, right?
Yeah, of course. So, Brad, your thoughts on it?
I would echo Nabil's concepts completely. From a financial management standpoint, the idea would be to remove friction from the process, make it smooth, make it easy. Settlement, end of month um, processes together between airport and concessionaire can move from you know week long, maybe month long processes to a few days if you've got the right data and infrastructure in place to manage that. So I think that's a big part of it. And then again, similarly on the commercial side, I think the big opportunity there is really to introduce the ability to use some optimization processes and concepts in the commercial side of the business, where again, anything from kind of modeling with passenger data, the best location for various retailers or concessionaires or type of concessionaire, to that forward looking, working together on initiatives that will drive incremental traveler spend, maximize the use of dwell time in terms of concessionaire profitability.
To explore all the topics, concerns, and pain points discussed in our industry webinar, click the link below.